This week I pulled out some absolute bangers, so stay tuned. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below and also make sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. Now, today is obviously another weekly fragrance rotation, a series I do on a weekly basis. And if you aren't familiar with this series, we basically run down what fragrance I wear, how many sprays, the kind of weather, and of course if that fragrance got a compliment or not. And I'm also just getting over a cold, so don't mind my voice. And let's get right into Sunday. Sunday happened to be in the high 60s and rainy outside, and I pulled out a brand new cheapie that I just recently got, and it is Swiss Arabian's FragHunter Oud, which I recently just reviewed. And this is such a banger of a oud fragrance that you can get for around that $30 mark. And to me, guys, this is pretty much a more gourmand take on Dior's Oud Ispahan with the rose oud saffron. But this, of course, has some vanilla and chocolatey accords in the base of this stuff, which actually makes it outstanding. And I actually found my bottle over at Burlington for, I think, $25. But on that day, I did do 5 sprays of FragHunter Oud just to test it out, see how it would perform, how it smelled, etc. And like I said, I recently did review this one, so if you are more interested in this fragrance, go ahead and check out that review. Also got no compliments on Sunday because I don't recall doing it that much, and I also don't really see this one necessarily being a huge compliment magnet, even though it is actually kind of a wearable oud, so it's not going to be like funky or barnyardy like a lot of oud fragrances come across. So you could maybe pull it off and get some attention and possibly even good attention from this one. But that's what I wore on Sunday is FragHunter Oud. Monday was in the low 80s and sunny outside, and I pulled out a fragrance from one of my new favorite niche houses, and it is Bon Parfumier 601, which I also just recently dropped my review of, guys. And if you love something like Terre Hermes, you're gonna fall in love with this one because it kind of shares that similar scent profile, being a citrus, spicy vetiver fragrance. And this is exactly what this one is, but it's done in a much better way than Terre Hermes, in my opinion. And especially at the price you can find this stuff, it's a no-brainer. On Monday, I did do 10 sprays of 601. The performance was respectable for what it is, no complaints whatsoever. I did get 2 compliments. The first was from a coworker. She said, yeah, I know Hunter's around when I smell them. And she said that it smelled good. And of course, I mean, that is funny because this fragrance does actually project pretty heavy, especially for the first couple hours. So she pretty much smelled me before she even seen me. And it's funny because I can never like hide out and chill because my fragrance is always pushing so far and projecting that people just, when they smell me, they know I'm around somewhere. Then I had another coworker compliment me and said that, yeah, this fragrance is a 10 out of 10. She loved it, but then she also said that it kind of reminded her of Santal 33, but disregard that, guys. Everything I wear pretty much reminds her of Santal 33, so take that with a grain of salt. There is sandalwood in the base of this stuff, but the sandalwood is the least dominant note in this fragrance, in my opinion. It more so has a cedarwood base, but still, she loved it and rated it a 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's what I wore on Monday is Bon Parfumier 601. Tuesday was in the mid 80s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out a brand new fragrance from the house of Sphinx. And this one is Carrero Nights. This one just dropped, guys, and I've been a big fan of what Sphinx has been releasing lately. Of course, like Vanilla Azure, Chocolate Citronique are both bangers. This one is another banger from the house. It has this very unique citrus kind of herb-based just opening to it that I've never smelled anything quite like it. So it is fairly unique, which is always good. Now, on that day, I did do 10 sprays of Carrero Nights, and I think I'm pronouncing that right. By the way, look at that bottle as well. It's got like this Egyptian kind of a border around it, and I think it's supposed to be based off of Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, and it definitely gives off that kind of Egypt vibe about it. But on that day, I actually did get a compliment from a coworker on this one. She basically came over and was like, what in the world is that? It's one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled, which took me by surprise. She even asked me what it was, and she wanted to get a bottle for herself. So like throughout the day, she couldn't stand being around me because it smelled so good and she just couldn't take it. So Sphinx definitely released a banger with their newest launch. I'm gonna have to review this one very, very soon because it does deserve it. So that's what I wore on Tuesday is Sphinx Carrero Nights. Wednesday was in the high 70s and also cloudy outside. And I pulled out a very underrated fragrance from Louis Vuitton, and this one is Meteor, which is, I would say, probably the most generic from the house, especially in the men's collection. Just a very kind of almost powdery, clean, blue style fragrance from Louis Vuitton. but done in the highest quality possible. Louis Vuitton is coming out with a brand new men's fragrance later on in the month called Lovers, which you already know I'm going to pick up on day one and review it as soon as possible because, of course, Louis Vuitton is my favorite designer house of all time. And maybe I'll even vlog going to Louis Vuitton and picking up Lovers when it comes out. And if you're interested in that, leave a comment down below. But besides that, back to Meteor, guys. On that day, I did do 10 sprays of this one. I did get 2 compliments as well. The first just came from a coworker. She pretty much just said it smells good. Just kind of your regular compliment on a fragrance. She wasn't really blown away by it. And then I had another coworker, like hours into the day. She was like far behind me, guys. And when she finally caught up to me, it's like, wow, whatever you got on, I smelled you from all the way back there, and it smells very good. So the performance with Meteor, the projection and the sillage must have been pushing because she was far back. And I'm telling you guys, with these Louis, once they sit for maybe a few months or so, they definitely perform much better than when you first get the bottle. So just keep that in mind. So that's what I wore for Wednesday is a Louis Vuitton's Meteor. Thursday was in the mid 70s and sunny outside, and I put out a fragrance from zaharoff, which is probably my favorite from the house, and this one is, of course, Nexos. Now, the reason I pulled this one out because I know a lot of people talk about Nexos being good for like the summertime on a hot sunny day. I always kind of disagree with that. This is much more of a fall, winter, maybe spring fragrance for me personally. I still stand by that, wearing it on that sunny day when I did, because this is a very aromatic lavender fragrance with a earthy, dark tobacco and this very kind of a sticky honey note that I think is just a little bit too potent and dense for a summer day. A lot of people talk about the citruses in here, but guys, the citruses last maybe tops 20 minutes. After that, it turns very dark. And also look at that juice color. I know mine has been sitting for a while, and I guess the darker the Nexos is, the better. And mine is getting pretty dark, as you see there. However, on that day, I did do 10 sprays of Nexos. My bottle performs outstandingly, guys. It's a very strong fragrance, so don't really need 10 sprays, but that's usually my go-to with my routine. Also got no compliments on that day either, but man, I was enjoying the wearing experience, even though it was a little bit too thick and cloying, especially if you're going to be outside in the hot sunny day. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, even though I know a lot of you guys wear this one all year round, and which is no problem. Just for me personally, guys, I like this one better on a colder day. But that's what I wore for Thursday is zaharoff Nexos. Friday was in the low 70s and sunny outside, and I put out a brand new fragrance from Sospero, and this one is Traviata in this beautiful red, gorgeous velvet bottle, of course matching like maraschino, which I recently reviewed as well. The only thing though, I don't think this fragrance necessarily should be in a red bottle. It more suits maybe a green bottle, because in the opening of this, it's citrusy and it's very green and herbal with this very relaxing, calming lavender. Probably one of the most calm lavenders I smelled in a fragrance. It just gives you that kind of zen mode and dries down to this very green, earthy patchouli. There is a little bit of like fruits in there as well, but the fruits are not dominant. And to be honest with you guys, if you like something like vibrato and basso, this might be one you want to check out, because now I think this might be my second favorite from Sospero. Much preferred over maraschino, which was a little bit more feminine. This one though is unisex, leaning on the masculine side, because the patchouli in the base of this is one of the best patchoulis I've smelled in quite some time, and I'm a patchouli lover. However, on that day, I did do 10 sprays of Traviata. The performance was fantastic, just like the majority of Sospero's. Got no compliments, just kind of ran errands, had to get some things done, etc. And I just had it in, so I had to pull it out and test it. And review will be coming up shortly. But that's what I wore for Friday is the brand new Sospero Traviata. Wrapping the week off on Saturday, it was in the high 70s and cloudy outside, and I put out a fragrance I haven't worn in some time and forgot how good it was. This one is Thomas de Monaco Grand Beau, and I believe Grand Beau is discontinued. So if you want to check this one out, now is the time, because after that it will be completely gone. I believe Thomas de Monaco rebranded all their bottles into new bottles and kind of did away with Grand Beau, which is unfortunate because this is such a great fragrance. Very green, aromatic, juniper berries that's so fresh. The juniper in here is very, very fresh and gives off that kind of gin and tonic vibe, along with some pine, which gives it this kind of forest vibe as well. And this stuff right here is an absolute beast of a fragrance, extremely potent. But on that day, I only did 5 sprays of Grand Beau. I don't want to really go through my bottle since it is discontinued, and that's really all you needed with this stuff because of how strong it is. But on that day, I got no compliments, kind of just ran around, did a little bit of shopping, etc. Watched some UFC in the evening time. If you guys are UFC fans, let me know down below. But I was just looking at my collection. I was like, yeah, I haven't worn this in a long time. and it caught my eye, and I'm definitely glad I did because it's so good. So that's gonna do it for my weekly fragrance rotation video, guys. As always, leave a comment down below the fragrances you guys wore throughout the week. You guys always pull out so many good fragrances that I'm always curious about. So leave a like, subscribe below if you guys haven't already, and of course, I'll see all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.